Hey there guys and gals, this is Chris with Ignited by Nature and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a binocular that caught me by surprise. Let me just pull it out here. This is the Maven B.3 binocular and it's a 6x30 binocular. I really like the 6x30 because it has a field of view of 446 feet at 1,000 yards and it's got a 5mm exit pupil, meaning that it does really well in low light. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons, and I'm also going to be talking about the best use case scenario for this binocular. So let's dive into it. Alrighty then, so let's go ahead and close up my binocular harness and then we'll talk about some of the key features. First off, on the ocular side, you have 6 power, and then on the objective side, you have 30mm. They also come in a 8 power and a 10 power as well. But I really like the 6 power for their wide field of view and their very large exit pupil. The field of view, like I mentioned earlier, is 446 feet at 1,000 yards. And then you have a 5mm exit pupil. You also have an angular field of view of 8.5 degrees and an apparent field of view of 51 degrees. Another standout feature of these binoculars is the eye relief. You have 18.3mm of eye relief. And in general, to have good eye relief, you want 15 to 20mm. Anything above or below is kind of excess or not enough, and your viewing experience isn't going to be as comfortable. Especially if you wear glasses, you're definitely going to want in between 15 and 20mm of eye relief. The other thing I wanted to mention in this category was the interpupillary distance, or the distance in between your eyes. It's definitely really comfortable and you have plenty of room to adjust for your eyes, I think, for most users. So I don't think in particular anyone's going to have a problem with their overall viewing experience. The next thing I want to talk about is the compact size overall. If you take a closer look at these binoculars in my hands, you'll see that they are truly compact and they really have an excellent size. When I compare these to the NL 8x32s, if you sit them next to each other, these are half the size and they weigh 16.08 ounces if you don't have the eye cups or the objective lens covers on. If you add the eye cups and the objective lens covers, you're looking at 17.35 ounces. Another thing I wanted to talk about is their overall size and the build quality of these. The overall length is 4.7 inches. The overall width of these binoculars when extended is 4.6, and then the height of the binoculars is 1.6. The housing on these binoculars is a polymer housing instead of magnesium. So some of the other B series binoculars actually have a magnesium housing, and they have abaconic prisms where these have Schmidt-Pecan. I think I'm saying that right, Schmidt-Pecan prisms. And basically the difference is that abaconic is longer, it's usually bulkier, but you get better light transmission. But the Schmidt-Pecan is more compact and lightweight. And these actually still have 94.7% light transmission, which is really good. Meaning that with all the coatings and everything on here, you're still getting 94.7% light transmission to your eyes. And these binoculars are super bright. Like I said, they have that 5mm exit pupil, and they're absolutely a joy to use in the timber and in low light situations. These are also fully waterproof and fog proof. They're fully multi-coated lenses, and they have a price point of $525 for the 6x30 model. If you want the 8x30 model, you're looking at $550, and if you want the 10x30 model, you're looking at $575. Lastly, I just wanted to talk about the glass real quick. I was kind of bummed they didn't use fluorite crystal glass, but they did use ED glass, which is extra low dispersion glass. And it's still pretty good, especially for that price point of $525. One thing you'll notice is with the overall build, it mirrors its larger cousins in build quality. And even the bridge, like if you put the bridge out and fully extend it and then you kind of go like this, it doesn't move at all. So it's a really solid binocular. Now, as far as overall performance, I was really impressed with these binoculars out in the field. They're 6 power. So most people that use 10 power binoculars, which are most hunters, might be like, oh my gosh, I can't use 6 power. But you'd be surprised what you can actually spot with these. So when I'm hiking around or side hilling on a ridge, I'm looking for animals, but I'm also looking for sheds, especially this time of year. And this saved me a lot of time of walking up and down a ridge, basically looking for shed sticks, because I'm a sucker for shed sticks. I don't know why, but I always see a stick and I'm like, oh, it's a shed. And I go over and hike up or down the ridge, and it ends up being a stick. These things, the 6 power was enough to just be able to throw up, and the stability on it allowed me to pick out whether it was a shed or not. And like I said, they're so portable and lightweight, and they're so stable that they're really nice for just moving and glassing. I really think these are going to be good binoculars for people that hunt in northern Idaho or Washington or Oregon, any of that thick stuff, or people out east that are hunting that thick stuff. These binoculars are freaking awesome. I just love the brightness. It's hard to find a compact binocular that has a 5mm exit pupil. And I think that's where Maven really shines sometimes, is they have these odd binocular sizes. Like they'll carry 7s, 9s, and in this case 6s. And so when I was looking at the different options, I saw the 6s and I was like, whoa, 5mm exit pupil. So I picked these up and I've really enjoyed them so far. They're also going to be great for birders. And they're going to be great for anyone who doesn't care about trophy potential and they're just wanting to bag some meat. I mean, you can pick up deer and elk with the 6 power binocular very easily within 1,000 yards. And these work great for shed hunting. I've just found so many great uses for them. I even compared these to the Zulu 6s. I glassed up these deer at 350 yards, and I honestly couldn't see much of a difference in size. Obviously, you get more detail with the 16s, but if you're just picking out critters, these are going to do the job. And then lastly, I did want to mention that these are tripod adaptable. I actually have the cover taken off. Usually there's like a little Maven logo. And then another thing that's cool is if you digiscope at all and you have a digiscoping device, even though these are 6 power, if you have an iPhone, like I have an iPhone 15 and it has a 15x zoom range. And if you turn off a couple settings, you can actually utilize that full range. So you can get a lot of magnification out of these binoculars using your phone. Obviously, the higher up in magnification you go, the more washed out the image is, but you can still zoom up to 10 power with your iPhone and get a pretty good image. And then this is actually the Maven tripod adapter, and it screws in. You can actually just twist it on, which is pretty nice. And then you do want to tighten it down with like some kind of screwdriver or like a coin or something, but you can just tighten it on real quick and then set these on a tripod as well. You probably don't really need a tripod for these in most instances, but if you're trying to record something and you're digiscoping, you do have the option to do that with these binoculars, which is pretty cool. And then this is the actual cover. If you are not using your tripod, you can throw this on and it's just like the dust cover to keep dust and dirt out of the threads. So you can just thread that on and it kind of looks like that. Okay, so the next thing I want to cover is optical performance. I was actually really impressed with these binoculars. I was kind of disappointed that they didn't include fluorite glass. From what I've seen, their fluorite glass models tend to compete with the higher end models like I mentioned. But overall, I think for the price point, at $525, I think the glass is pretty good. With the 6 power binocular, obviously you're not going to be glassing out to distant ridge lines, but if you're under 1,000 yards, as I mentioned earlier, these things actually really pack a punch, and I feel like they perform really well. And if you're comparing them to 8 power binoculars, you're not going to notice that much of a difference. And when it comes to compact binoculars, you're getting better overall performance and low light capabilities. I also wanted to talk about build quality and ergonomics. As far as build quality goes, I think Maven does a good job with their B series overall. They feel nice in your hands, and even being a compact binocular, they fit well in your hands still. I feel like I can put, my 2 fingers, my middle finger and my index finger on each side on the bridge and then wrap my hands around both the ocular tubes, and I really get a nice fit. And then they just feel nice overall when you're holding them. And as you can see, the bridge is stiff, but it's also very smooth. As I'm extending it out to its max setting, it just flows very nicely and it's very stable. I showed you earlier, but I'll show you again. I can shake these and this bridge does not come loose. If you take a closer look at the D-rings, these are polymer or plastic, but they seem pretty sturdy. They don't seem like they're going to break. Also, another thing I really like about Maven is their eye cups. Their eye cups hold position really nicely, but they're also very smooth. They have like 3 or 4 settings that are like solid, like you can hear them click and you get into those settings. For me, I'm usually always all the way up. Like I said, these have 18.3 millimeters of eye relief, so they got really good eye relief. And then as far as the diopter goes, it's on the right hand side, and it's plus or minus 2 dpt of adjustment. And this is just going to adjust for your nearsightedness or your farsightedness depending on your eyes. And also on the 8 and the 10 models, you get plus or minus 4 dpt of adjustment. And as you can see, the diopter ring is very smooth as you turn it, but it's also stiff enough to where when you adjust it, it's not going to move on you. So I've never really had a problem with their diopter ring. Some binoculars have locking diopters, which is nicer. I'm going to have to make like some kind of mark so that I know where it was before. And then another thing that I really like about Maven, obviously, is their focus wheel is top notch. Overall, like I said, the build quality on these is pretty awesome, especially for the price point. And they come with Maven's no fault unconditional warranty, which is always nice peace of mind to have. I always like when companies have a no fault unconditional warranty or any kind of, unconditional warranty. It just gives you better peace of mind. But with that being said, I like to see companies actually make quality products too and have the unconditional warranty. So I think Maven is one of those companies that does make a quality product. These are the B series Mavens. So because it's a B series Maven, that means that all the products or all the pieces to this product are sourced in Japan. And then also they are assembled in the United States in San Diego. And then they're designed and inspected in Wyoming. The next topic that I want to cover in more detail would be the pros and cons, or what I like and what I love about these binoculars. So first off, let's go over what I like. What I like about these binoculars is that they're compact and lightweight. They have excellent field of view and low light performance. I also like that they're tripod adaptable. They have an overall clear and bright image, and it's very neutral. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. So overall image quality is great. I also love the 6-power magnification. I just feel that for glassing in the timber and just doing things up close, or walking around and hiking, pulling these out and glassing with them as I'm moving is pretty manageable. So those are all the standout features, or the things that I loved about these binoculars. Some of the things I didn't like about these binoculars were the fact that instead of a magnesium housing, they were polymer. I also didn't like that they didn't use fluorite glass with this premium model. I feel like the fluorite glass that Maven uses in their optics tends to compete better with the alpha glass like Swaro and Leica and Zeiss. So I was pretty bummed that they ended up just using ED glass on this. Also, for a lot of people that are used to using 10s, 6s might make them feel uncomfortable and they might feel a little limited with 6 power. One last con that I would say that I've noticed with Maven, especially having quite a few Maven products, their resale value just doesn't hold up compared to like Vortex or Swaro. I have no problem selling a Swaro, or Swarovski optic for people who don't know that slang. And then I have no problem selling Vortex for whatever reason. Even though I really don't like Vortex, they sell really well because of all the marketing they spent money on, and everyone just thinks they're great. Mavens, I don't think they hold their value as well, and they just seem like they don't sell as fast. So who are these binoculars for? I would say that these binoculars are for the birder, the hiker, the hunter who doesn't care about score, or the hunter who's hunting thick timber. So densely timbered areas like Oregon, Washington, northern Idaho, western Montana, anywhere out east, anyone hunting whitetails, blacktails, Roosevelt elk. These are actually a pretty awesome option because they have a very wide field of view and they have a 5mm exit pupil, which is almost unheard of with a compact binocular. Generally, companies tend to make 8s or 10s. Some companies might make 12s, but generally with those compact binoculars, you're looking at 8s or 10s, sometimes 7s. But with that 6-power binocular, you're getting a big binocular exit pupil, which is pretty cool, and I've really enjoyed it. Now that I'm done rambling, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay connected to the wild. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel for more outdoor gear reviews and adventures. I'd really appreciate it. As you know, if you watch my channel for a while, I like to have unbiased, unsponsored gear reviews, and I just really appreciate everyone's support. And I hope you continue to support my channel by leaving comments and subscribing. If you haven't left a comment, please do so below. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I'd also like to hear about what compact binocular that you like to use. Once again, my name is Chris with Ignited by Nature, and until next time, guys and gals.